Today on the Topping Show, Starbucks fires woman for being white and now must pay her millions. Trump promises to purge the deep state. Shyla Jackson attacks the Second Amendment. More businesses flee San Francisco. Stellantis is still debating Tesla Chargers. Oracle breaking records for their stock. Kava successfully launches their IPO. Temu wants to challenge Amazon.com. And JP Morgan settles Epstein victims for $270 million. All that and much, much more on The Topping Show. Thank you for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of Topping Show is sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, you use a little assistance, you can reach the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Now, going on to the culture part of the podcast, you have Starbucks firing a woman for being white, and she just won $25.6 million, which is quite a good chunk of change, although after taxes it's about $3.95. Sarcasm. No, a little bit. I mean, they take over half, but still. Now, in this particular instance, you had a Starbucks manager called Shannon Phillips, and she was a manager over in Philadelphia, and there was an issue with the Starbucks store in which they refused to let two African-American men use the restroom, and it went on social media. Of course, they decried the R word, racism, and they called the police. They got kicked out. It was a big PR nightmare for Starbucks. And I think the important thing to note in this instance, they were not customers, which in terms of a society breakdown, I don't care what your race is. If you're using someone's facilities for free, you're kind of a piece of shit. I'm trying to think of a polite way of saying it. You're a grifter, a leech, what's another fancy word for saying you're just feeding off society. Now, back in the day, everyone used to have a kind of a certain standard of cultural understanding and acceptance. And even to this, even maybe it's just that my parents are better than everyone else's, perhaps, but in some ways, for sure. But it's one of those things where it's culturally understood, and my dad always taught me, if you go into a gas station or a Starbucks, and let's say you just need to use the restroom, it is common courtesy because you are utilizing their facilities, they are incurring a cost for you using that. The common courtesy says you purchase a product from their store. It doesn't matter necessarily the price of that item. It's a gesture of goodwill that you are thanking them for allowing for you to use their facility. And even in my case, if I have to use the restroom and I want to use a nicer restroom where the odds of me getting stabbed are considerably lower, and I might go to a Starbucks, I at least buy a bottled water, as some might say, or one of those little, I forget what we call it, carbonated seltzer drinks. And those are, it might be $1 or $2. And to me, that's the price of using their restroom. And it's just a common courtesy thing because, again, they are incurring a cost and you are using something that you're not privileged to. They are a private business made to make a profit and provide their customers an exceptional experience. So it was a huge PR nightmare, and it was one of those issues where she received $25 million in punitive damages as well as $600,000 in compensatory damages. Now, she had overlooked that location as well as 100 other locations, and she was fired in 2019. So this lawsuit took about 5 years. So I can't imagine the stress of having to go through that long and having to deal with that many lawyers. After the lawyers' fees, that's another big fee. You got the government and the lawyers' fees. That's how much of that money is she really going to get? Now, another thing is she's been at Starbucks for 13 years. And during this ordeal, she noted that after the two African American were arrested at Starbucks, they ordered that she put the white sales manager at that store on administrative leave. And he'd been at the company for 15 years. Now, the discrepancy of how this becomes anti-white racism, or just racism against white people, whatever vernacular you choose, is that Starbucks did not order her to implement similar disciplinary action towards the African American employees at that store. So they did not get any disciplinary action. And even more insult to injury, the two African American men who were at the store refused to buy anything and used the bathroom. Starbucks acquiesced and just bent the knee, and they said, okay, we're going to give you an undisclosed lump sum of money. So I can't, probably more than six figures, I would guess, or maybe millions, who knows. And they also get free college education, which is a great deal on their part for not paying to use the bathroom. So if anything, they should be, it's astronomical. I know many people I know are still paying their college debt. They could have just used the bathroom without asking or not buying anything. And in terms of cultural significance, it's one of those sad things where if you trust someone and you hire an employee or hire a contractor, you should be confident not only in their abilities to do the job, but also handle situations under pressure. And in this case, the company completely ignored the confidence that they instilled on their employees when they hired them and left them out to dry. They didn't trust their employees. And if I were an employee at Starbucks, they clearly don't have your back, as some might say. They chose two strangers over people who have been working at the company for over a decade. And it is just astonishing how little confidence businesses have because they're so scared of the mob coming after them. They're so scared of social media, of being canceled, some might say, that they would believe strangers over someone they've been working with over a decade, which is just a huge, fascinating, and disappointing pivotal moment where culturally, wind back the clock 10, 15 years ago, you hear stories where businesses would stick to their guns. They would believe their employees because the employees were their family. They've been working together for 10 plus years. Of course they would believe them, but not so much in this case. Thank you everyone again for taking the time to tune in today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. It really helps the channel grow and develop. I've noticed that every time there's more and more comments, there's a lot more views. I greatly appreciate it. Also, don't forget to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone to stay safe, fight the good fight.